G.K. Chesterton once said that his real objection to socialism was that descriptions of the happiness we would experience once socialism arrived didn't remind him of any actual happiness he'd ever experienced. And that's why, once you've read Henry Hazlitt on why government's attempts to make us better off will leave us worse off, and Hayek on why, in the process of failing, they'll make a right mess of our economy and of our system of government, you want to pick up Charles Murray's book, In Pursuit of Happiness and Good Government, to get to the fundamental question, what is it we want from the state? The origin of the book is Murray's own experience as an idealistic youth. He joined the Peace Corps, he went to Thailand in the 1960s, and being observant as well as keen to do good, he noticed that the people they were trying to help didn't spend all their time talking about sewing machines and bicycles. And yes, of course, clean water was important, but what really seemed to preoccupy the targets of this benevolence was having effective control over their own lives. And this got Murray thinking. So now, imagine for a moment that the state's enormous project to take care of us all the time could actually work. Suppose government could save for our retirement, educate and babysit our kids, guarantee us a healthier diet, make sure that we're protected from physical danger and our own tendency to do foolish things, ensure that we never have to listen to language that makes us uncomfortable, see to it that we get a good job with good pay in comfortable surroundings, manage everything for us, and see to our material comfort. What would you say to that? Well, personally, I'd say, moo. I think it works for cows. They seem to me as happy as I imagine cattle could ever be. But that's really no life for human beings. We want to live. We want to strive. We want to exert ourselves in the struggle to make life better. We don't want to live in what P.G. O'Rourke once called a wiffle ball universe, where all the corners are padded, nothing ever hurts, and none of our decisions, good or bad, ever have any real consequences. That's not what it means to be human, so it's not what it means to be happy. Well, what about the poor, you cry? What about the ill and the unfortunate? What happens to them in this world of strenuous striving? That's very simple. We look after them. We don't just stagger into the voting booth and say somebody we've never met should take money from somebody else we never met and give it to somebody we never met in ways we neither understand or care about, so we can get back to the couch and resume eating Cheez Whiz straight out of the jar with a spoon. It's up to us to look after them, to undertake the difficult and sometimes heartbreaking task of getting them through life's short-term troubles and trying to help them avoid longer-term problems, engaging with our fellows, and using our talents, not somebody else's money, to make a real difference, not just soothe our consciences. Now, Murray's a controversial figure, not so much for this book, though you'd think it would cause some conversation, as for The Bell Curve, a book that he co-wrote with Richard Herrnstein, where he talks about the very touchy topic of IQ and the even touchier topic of race. And it won't do to bring Murray up in discussions without having some idea what the controversy was about and some sense of whether some of what he said was over the line or not. But the ideas in Pursuit remain important. You have to think this stuff through, and you have to be able to explain it to people. When all is said and done, the purpose of statecraft really is to protect our lives, liberties, and property, to allow us to pursue happiness, not to deliver the happiness itself. Not only because it can't, though in fact it can't, but because if it could deliver all those things we associate with happiness without our having gone out and earned them, we wouldn't be happy. The whole project is doomed from the outset, not merely by its practical, but by its principled failings. It should be enough that government efforts to promote healthy eating will almost certainly make us sicker, just as their efforts to promote employment will almost certainly leave more people without jobs. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is we don't want the government choosing the menu even if it could. We want to do it ourselves. We have to do it ourselves. Human fulfillment cannot exist on any other terms. We don't want the government picking a career for us, determining the conditions in the factory, looking after our children according to scientifically determined principles of education while we are busy elsewhere enjoying the satisfactions they have offered us. We are not cattle to be scientifically nourished, kept in safe surroundings, and then painlessly destroyed when we are no longer useful or pleasant to have around. In short, if it's never Miller time, if it's never time to kick back and relax because we have done something difficult and important and we have done it well, there is no possibility that our pursuit of happiness will end with our achieving it. The way Murray puts the problem of government in the book is like this. He says, there must be a stopping point, some rule by which governments limit what they do to people, not just because of budget constraints, not just because of infringements on freedom, though either of these might be a sufficient reason in itself, but because happiness is impossible unless people are left alone to take trouble over important things. Now, if you listen to his list, you'll actually hear echoes of both Hazlitt and Hayek. This problem of budget constraints, because as Hazlitt points out, these well-meaning interventions, supposedly for our own good, don't work. They cost more than they deliver. In the end, they're unaffordable. And as for limitations on freedom, well, that's Hayek for you. But behind it all is this very deep point that Murray makes about the state and the meaning of human life. We are not meant to have happiness delivered to us. We are meant to go and pursue it ourselves. We cannot be happy unless we are able to take trouble over important things. That's why freedom is an adventure, the only adventure really worthy of human beings. And that gives you your triple play of conservative economics. The fact that well-meaning interventions don't work. The fact that in trying to make them work, especially as they consistently fail, the state is required to trample not only on the prosperity it's trying to advance, but also on the freedom it claims to respect. But that behind it all, this is not a suitable project for human beings. This is what we have to understand and what we have to be able to explain if we are going to win the battle of ideas and the battle of policy and make Canada again a truly free nation, worthy of the good people who live there.